What's up guys, Marcus here. Today I'm going to be talking about Harriet. Harriet was written by Gregory Allen Howard and Cassie Lemons and directed by Cassie Lemons, and it stars Cynthia Erivo. It's a real story about Harriet, a slave who escaped her captivity and helped other slaves be free. Yeah, Harriet was awful. It's one of the worst movies of 2019, definitely. Real life Harriet was a very interesting person, and seeing a movie about her could be interesting, but this one just misses the mark completely. Firstly, the movie is 2 hours and 5 minutes long, but the plot only starts at 1 hour and 17 minutes, so the structure of the movie is really all over the place because the first act is long as fuck. But that happened because the first act is like a story on its own. If they stretched it out a little more, they could have made, I don't know, 2 movies, made the first movie just what happened in the first act, and the second movie the rest of her story. They could have probably focused more on her time at the Civil War, which would have been interesting. But yeah, it's really weird, the structure of this movie. It feels really dragged, especially because the movie feels like it's gonna end at least 5 times. It's really weird. The pacing and the structure of the movie are very convoluted and messy. It really turned me off while watching it. It was a very poorly made part of the movie. And not just that, the plot itself is really stupid. Not only are there some major plot contrivances on their own, there are also plot contrivances being explained by Harriet having some sort of supernatural ability to talk to God, like Dog is talking to her. But bringing this supernatural thing is really fucking weird because, the movie's trying to ground itself in reality since it's a real story. So having these elements was really weird. It really dragged the movie down. The climax is also contradictory to what Harriet says she had to do, probably because her character was very poorly written throughout the entire movie. Speaking of her, Harriet's character is the worst part of the movie. She is very unlikable, even though the movie thinks her actions are justified, but most of the time she isn't right in when she gets into an argument with someone, most of the time, there's a scene where she argues with her husband and then her sister, and both times she's wrong, but the movie feels like she's right, so it's very weird. And she gives us that sense of entitlement, which probably has nothing to do with real life Harriet, because from what I read, she was a very different person from what the movie showed us. So yeah, it was a very poor adaptation of real life events. Harriet also has no clear objective because her goals change every 10 minutes. So we have no idea where the plot is gonna go. The movie never explains well what her goals are, what her objectives are, why she wants to do what she wants to do. It's really weird. The score is very generic and pretty bad. They fit the scenes they're in because they are so generic they would fit any scene, but yeah, the score is really generic and boring and doesn't add anything to the movie. Cinematography was a weird one. Sometimes it was really good and interesting, but sometimes it missed some depth, making the lighting look very cheap. Also, they use some unnatural blue lighting at night, and it looks really bad because it's very clearly fake, because it's, not natural blue. You could say it's very clear that the blue is artificial, so it looks really fake, and it just pulls you out of the movie, especially since it was overused so fucking much. The acting from almost everyone was great, especially from the actor of the character Gideon, but I said almost everyone because Cynthia Erivo was awful in this movie. I really have no idea how she was nominated for Best Lead Actress in the Oscars, because she's the worst actress in the movie. Apart from her, I would say basically everyone does a good job at acting, but her, she's really bad. And that drags the movie down a lot since she's the main actress, so yeah, that wasn't a good thing for the movie. There are a lot of songs the slaves sing that are pretty cool. They sing really well, and they fit the scenes. It's really interesting. Maybe in another movie they could have added a lot to the movie, but for this one it just feels like a splash of good into a movie that has a lot of bad. There was the original song in this movie as well, which was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. I mean, it's fine, I guess. When I watched the movie, I enjoyed the music, and then after I heard it again during the Oscars, and I thought, this isn't as good as I remember it. And now my opinion is just that it's really bad. I mean, I don't know as much of music as I know of cinema, so I'm not gonna say how good or bad it is. I would say that I personally didn't like it, but yeah, sure, being nominated. I don't think there are many other songs that could have been nominated instead. Overall, the movie completely missed the mark. I mean, there aren't a lot of things that make this movie worth a watch. Just the acting and the direction that was really interesting for most of the movie. Sometimes, meh. But yeah, most of the movie was good. I'd say if you want to find out about Harriet, Google her, because that's way more interesting than watching this movie, especially because the movie misrepresents a lot of things. So yeah, I give Harriet a 3 out of 10 and I really don't recommend it. So guys, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave comments down below suggesting movies or TV shows for me to watch and review. Till next time guys, bye bye.